All right. I really enjoyed your letter, Trent, and I wanted to respond in a video email. I'm feeling stronger. Almost got hit by a car in the middle of a crosswalk. There was a banner across the top. There were signs on both sides that it was a crosswalk. It's a new crosswalk. I didn't know that also 20 yards away from the crosswalk there was a button to push that would even start lights flashing. So I just assumed, because I never knew otherwise, and started walking out into the crosswalk, well marked. The ground was heavily painted with orange and white, and the car decided, because I didn't know to push the other button, the additional button, that he was going to run me over. That was the penalty for me and my ignorance in this new crosswalk. Run me over. I started walking out. The car didn't start slowing down at all. I felt I was going to die. There's a few times getting hit by a car and getting hit by the car in the Pizza Hut. That was the moment that I felt I was going to die. Somehow, unimaginably, in an unnatural way. I'm not going to use the word supernatural because people belittle that. In an unnatural way, I somehow flew myself out from the middle of the street to the sidewalk. It wasn't quite to the middle, but, and was not hit by the car, who was not going to stop. I had a pretty firm response to him and asked him to step outside of the car, which he refused to do. And he said, there's a button, there's an additional button to press. And that's the reason that he was going to run me over in a crosswalk. He knew it was a crosswalk. He knew there was a pedestrian in it, and he decided that he was going to run me over. So that was just another miracle. I got on my face in the Muslim prayer position and thank God and thank the Holy Spirit for this unnatural, amazing ability to leap out of the way of an oncoming truck. So that's the only serious part. Good to hear from you. Listened to Hillary last night. She will win in a landslide. 100% immigrant vote, 99 black, 80 Hispanic, 70% women. Yeah, there's the numbers. There's no way she can win. But I got to challenge you here. Remember what happened with Ralph Nader when a lot of people hated both candidates and voted for Ralph Nader, and the worst candidate won, Bush. Since shock and awe, ISIL has been unleashed all over the world. Why? Because they have recruiting tape of us killing 100 million Muslims and so-called liberating them. That would be like bombs coming into Manhattan that Russia did to us to teach us the greatness of communism. So I ask you not to be an independent for the same reason that I got on Matt for voting for Ralph Nader, who turned out to be the biggest egomaniac of any corporation that he battled during his years. He turned out to be a fake, and sure as hell I haven't seen much of him in the last 8 years, last 12 years, last 16 years. Unbelievable. So I would ask you not to stand by and to be neutral, but to vote for Hillary. Yeah, she sucks, she lies, she does all kinds of things that I do and you do, but she's qualified. And by voting for an independent, Gary Johnson, you're throwing your vote away. It means nothing. If you need to vote for Trump, vote for Trump. If you need to vote for Hillary, vote for Hillary. But to throw your vote away is like Matt voting for Ralph Nader. And then the worst president of the history spent 8 years destroying this country and killing 1 million people and unleashing ISIS all over the world. Trump is that kind of guy. So, shingles. The shingles look much better. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they start out as spots, like a spider spot, and then they multiply. So I've been monitoring them closely, and thank God they got smaller last night because I was just ready to go to the emergency room. So I say, did you happen to get a chance to hear President Obama's speech? Haven't seen such a statement in a long, long time. President Obama and Biden are great speakers. I would have voted for Biden in 2006. Hillary is good enough as a speaker. I will vote for President Gary Johnson. Well, that or for a vote for Gary Johnson. Okay, well, I already presented my debate. Um, hip, you're hip. Oh, the blowjobs. Yeah, he was a sex addict. He was a creep, but he also was a damn good president. The economy was going great. There were help wanted signs, and he left office with a $3 trillion surplus. So, weighing that against George W., who left with a huge deficit and dead children, it's, yeah, sex addict is bad. It's bad. It ruined marriages, it ruined families, but it didn't ruin the country. I think more and more about dumbing down my songs so people can understand them. I really admire Eminem's lyrics. They were filled with rage over and over again. That was healthy for me. That was healthy, I think, for him to do. But now that he's 43 years old, 44, however old he is, it's time to see if he grows up and writes more adult lyrics and not rehashing the same issues over and over again. You say you might need to dumb down to 140 characters, not even 140 words. 140 characters. Yeah, I'd have to appeal to someone who's more interested in literature and more interested in reading and politics. It wouldn't be young guys who would be coming to watch me because I don't rap. I'd have to have a screen with the words in the background and then read them in an as engaging way as I possibly could, so someone could read the words as they heard the words, because otherwise, as you say, perhaps they wouldn't even get the metaphors. They wouldn't get the complexity of some of the stuff I write. So thanks for encouraging me. Technology has advantages and weaknesses. I'm sorry about Hastings' story. You never told me about that. What a cool memory. Sad. Yeah, bookstores are closing here. Sad. Libraries are from Ben Franklin, and I think it's one of the greatest government institutions there is, big or small. It's incredible to go in and get a video or a book or to sit there and type on the internet. It's a blessing. I went to a nearby library, and a kind woman, I was dressed exactly like this. Let me finish the final point. I don't know what you can see or how you can see. Let me check. Okay, I was dressed like this as I was walking to the library and as I was walking the crosswalk. So maybe the driver thought I was a homosexual, and maybe this was his answer to me being in the crosswalk. I don't know. It was a sad thing to happen. I don't think I'll wear this shirt again. Maybe not true. Who knows? Probably not true, but it ran through my mind. And the woman at the library that I'm now going to renewed my card in a special way, waived $32 of fines from 6 books that I had for a long time when I was studying autobiographies, and ordered 2 more books from me about Andrew Jackson. So it was going to be a great day. I was walking home. I had to get across the crosswalk, and this awful near-death experience happened again. It's nice to go down nostalgia and walk down the aisles, you say, for the last time. I didn't know you spent hours there. That's great. I agree. TV, Xbox, MTV, starting from the 80s, has, I wouldn't say begin the decline, has totaled the decline of people's attention span in 2016. Commercials are so annoying wherever you are. Shot, new shot, because people can't sit down and listen. People can't sit down and read a book or a newspaper. Students are writing at your school at a much lower level, fourth, fifth grade level when they're in ninth grade. It's sad. We can't play outside. Kids don't play. I like your story about how you stopped and admired the kids and told them it was great they were out playing football. I don't see kids riding their bikes, playing football, doing anything outside. And I live near a school with lots of kids in this neighborhood. So technology has both advantages and disadvantages. Bookstores today are the horse buggy whip manufacturers of the early 1900s. Yeah, true. All right, and then I go back to say, I've been studying another guy, another songwriter from Detroit, Kid Rock. He's kind of a punk, but he has progressed a lot in his lyrics. He has a really tender, important, profound song called Only God Knows Why. Um, he seems to be a decent kid. He's not a kid anymore, he's in his 40s. But yeah, I've studied him, and I say that I lived for a total of 3 years on 1634 Ray Street. There were no break-ins during that period. Excuse me. You responded, Maddie still made a killing on the sale of Ray Street house. Danica gave her profits to Fats and Gretchen, who co-signed the mortgage. Whom did Maddie give his share of profits to? Yeah, that's a good question. 5 years ago, I asked for my money to buy a condo downstairs in the same complex that cost less than $100,000. My money would have totally covered it 100%. Maddie, who I found out is coaching Amy heavily, said no to Amy. Amy said no to me. 5 years later, guess how much that housing is worth? Yeah, 2.5 times more. 2.5 times more than it was worth 5 or 6 years ago. I would have had a place to stay, my own garden apartment. I would have made money on the deal. I would have been less dependent, probably independent from the government after I sold it, fixed it up and sold it. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that I have been living on $11,000 a year, and yet I would somehow rifle through all of my own money. So what? I would rifle through it by investing in a condo that's now worth 2.5 times. I did not know that Ron and Gretchen co-signed. I did not know that, and that shocked me and had a profound effect. That here Maddie was helped once again, and once again he discouraged from my advancement with my own money. It's just profound. It's disgusting. It's profound. So we're talking about credibility, and in writing, I also gained credibility on Federal Street in public housing next to a prison. I was on Euclid Avenue in Cleveland, and I was on Colfax, 1 block off of Colfax, 16th off of 15th, for a total of 3 years. And so that's how I get my credibility. Anybody who wants to live in the inner city for 10 years, come to me, talk to me, and I'll give you a few tips. Dyke, I say, what a name for a college, gave you about as much as Donald Trump University gave its students. But we're always moving, inching our way forward as we grow stronger. I think you're a great example as a cancer survivor. And remember your young, earlier predictions of dying first at 40, then changed to 50. You have found your true calling in the inner city and being recognized, remunerated with money, appreciated by faculty, students climbing over each other to try to get into your classes. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. You've truly found, and also you've truly done. That's a big risk going into the inner city. What was it, 8 years ago? Seems 7, I can't remember, but to start by teaching difficult students, delinquent students, how to read, I mean, that's That's something that you will carry with you into eternity, I believe. So, Bill, same thing. 30 years, 25 years, every day in the inner city. Do you think our good friend, I'm not mentioning any names, will spend the next 20 years helping sick people in the inner city or in Africa, using his millions to help other people, including me, his own family member? Me, myself, and I is what you say. So I explored the paralegal profession at Dyke College after leaving Campbell's in the late 1983. In hindsight, both Dyke and Campbell's were a waste of my time. Live and learn. I agree. I don't like the people that say I wouldn't change a thing about my life. I'd change 1,000 things about my life. I would have never gone to Wheaton College. I would have never done all these crazy cultic things that I learned in the crew cult. Never. That took years and years of my life. And you know what? I'm still suffering from that 1 year. I'm still suffering. My health is coming back. I feel stronger. I'm walking more. But I wrote that piece, Get the Hell Out of Crews, with pure passion. You know, parents worry, but the kids are sucked in. They're brainwashed. They are lied to. And I've written many, many, many times about it. And this is just another warning. And that includes InterVarsity. That includes Campus Crusade for Christ, called Cru. That includes any para-church. There's no para-churches in the New Testament. Either it's a church and they baptize new converts, they help people employ their spiritual gifts, and I believe those gifts were not apostolic, and they live in perpetuity. And that's what you need to be learning from a church, not this bullshit from a parachurch that denies all 22 gifts that I've sent you of the Holy Spirit that extend beyond the apostolic age. It's insanity. It saved my life. You know, the Spirit gifts have saved my life. Period. No question. I'd be an institution or dead without the Spirit gifts in their perpetuity as I try to employ them in the best of my ability. Okay, I say I have not been recognized or remunerated for my talents. I have been remunerated. I've worked hard here to live here, and I get to live in a small, tiny apartment, 1 bedroom. I sleep on a fold-out mattress that hurts my back, but I'm not on South Federal. I'm not on Colfax. I'm not on Euclid, and I could never afford the rent. So I am being paid for every bit of work I do, 24/7. For everything I do here, I'm being paid for. And my passion for writing has never ceased. Hopefully you've seen the improvement. Hopefully you know how difficult it is to write poetry, to edit poetry. And if you want to get good, like you've become a good teacher, it doesn't take 5 years. It doesn't take 10 years. It takes 25 years. And when a certain person said, oh, when I retire, I'm going to write a book, I might as well say, oh, when I retire, I'm going to do brain surgery. Because it takes years and years and guts to write from the heart, and then to share it with people who don't even respond. After doing hundreds and thousands of reviews on my site, on Bernadette's site, on our site where we work together, it's crazy. So, as a singer, Ricky Nelson, whose group died, the original word on that, they were doing cocaine that you set on fire and heal. I don't even know the name of it. Freebasing. And that's what caused the crash. This involves fire. They caught the plane on fire. Since then, I believe, you can Google this, that they found the mechanical problems in the plane, and it wasn't because they were all high. I'm not doubting they were all high all the time. Most of the time, I've seen, studied, watched Ricky Nelson's old show, and man, to go from a happy childhood to being so unhappy. That's a whole nother book. That's a whole nother chapter. And you're welcome. Bernadette and I do appreciate the fruition uh, of me. So thank you. I'm sorry I didn't read that correctly. Since you can't please everybody, you better please yourself. Ricky Nelson song. Bernadette and I appreciate the fruition of your destiny as a carrot. That brings me to tears. Michelle Obama's speech brought me to tears. No one has ever said that to me. So I thank you for being an encourager, for being a strong figure, for being a great writer. I think your writing potential is totally untapped. I think you have so much to write about. I know you're working full time and love to do the extra stuff that keeps you sane. So thank you for your letter, and I'm sorry if this went a little too long. Let's see. Yikes, 20 minutes. Yeah, I appreciate you listening to this. Pop open a cold one and enjoy your weekend.